All right, so moving on to our first featured reader of the night, that'll be Brian Duncan.
Woo!
So Brian Duncan is a fiction writer, an MFA student at SFSU. His other loves are music, computer science, and mathematics. He wanted to be an entomologist when he grew up, but he's okay with how things turned out. Please welcome Brian.
Hey everyone, thanks for having me here tonight. I thought that even though I'm a fiction writer, I thought it might be nice to try and overcome my fear of embarrassing myself by just telling an embarrassing story. When I was 8 years old, I became obsessed with sex. The reason I was obsessed with sex was because I had absolutely no idea what it was. But I did know that I needed to find out. Before I go any further, let me just kill the suspense and tell you I found out. I figured it out. Today, as I stand here before you, I know what sex is. But that is not important to this story. Sex, I knew, was the answer to a riddle I had kicking around in my head for some time. One I had uncovered one afternoon while my grandmother drove me home from soccer practice. It was a hot, hot Central Valley summer day, the kind of day where playing skins in a game of shirts and skins was basically a death sentence. I was sitting in the back seat of my grandmother's burgundy Dodge Grand Caravan minivan, basking in the blast of air conditioning and playing with a Ninja Turtle action figure or a crumpled up gum wrapper or whatever you play with, or whatever kids played with before there were smartphones, and letting my mind wander. One thought led to another. So Grandma, I said, a man and a woman fall in love, and they get married, right? I was onto something. Then sometime later, there's a baby. Now, I know the stork isn't real. That's just kid stuff. So does like an angel bring it down, or what? The angel theory was a product of my religious upbringing, and I was pretty sure I was right about it. All I needed was for her to do was just confirm with a quick nod or her saying, yep, you got it, it's the angel. So I was surprised when she didn't give me the simple answer right away. Instead, her eyes in the rearview mirror looked strange, like maybe I'd said the wrong thing and she was thinking of how she was going to punish me. You better just talk to your father, was all she said. If Grandma didn't want to talk about it, then there was no way I was going to talk to my dad. It wasn't that I was afraid he would get angry with me, but something much worse, that he would get uncomfortable. This was a man who didn't like to go to the beach because of all the exposed skin, who said, "Consarn it" and "Dadgammit," and that's how you knew he was really pissed off. He encouraged reading and prioritized the spiritual over the worldly, which I appreciate to this day. But his views were often so crystal clear that I still carry around a little version of him in my brain that makes it so I can't help but see things through his filter. The cider house rules? Liberal propaganda to convince you that abortion is okay. The Rocky Horror Picture Show? Probably the Antichrist. Because of this, I can now simultaneously enjoy the Epicurean and cultural pleasures of San Francisco, while noting that as a sinful den of hedonism, it will soon be burned to ashes by vengeful angels dropping some heavenly brand of napalm across its 47 square miles. So Dad was out. The answer to my question, that famous question, where do babies come from, would need to come from another source. Now I'm a little foggy on the details of how I figured out the word sex was the key to my question. Most likely I posed it to one of my older siblings or schoolmate and they'd said something glib like, "The man and the woman have sex, dummy," and left me too embarrassed to ask any follow-up questions. One mystery had replaced another. When it looked like I had exhausted all of my options, no, there was no Google and AOL was just getting started, I turned to the only place a shy, rule-following, devoutly religious kid could turn. I prayed for the answer. Yes, I prayed to God. And before you judge my 8-year-old self, just remember that what I did was completely logical given the information that I had. The Bible to me was like an instruction manual on how to get God to do stuff for you. You could pray, and if God liked you, he would smite your enemies, which was a cool way of saying kill them, or he would give you super strength and super good accuracy with a slingshot so you could smite them yourself. He even turned rivers to blood or whatever to freak people out. God was cool, and I knew you could ask him for things, as long as you didn't bug him all the time and tried to do things yourself first. And I wasn't asking for much, just a little bit of information. Before I went to sleep that night, I knelt down by my bed, clasped my hands in front of me, and prayed. Dear God, I said, please tell me, what is this thing called sex? In whatever way you can, write it in a letter, whisper it in my ear, send me a vision, anything. I just really, really would like to know so I can stop thinking about it. Amen. That night, I had a dream. I saw my father, and he was naked. I saw my stepmother, she was naked. And together they were unicycling in a giant bowl made of cheddar cheese. I'm an atheist now. No, the story isn't why. I have other reasons that I won't go into because that's what being an atheist for me means, not going into it. It's like saying you're agnostic and having a no soliciting sign at the same time. As an atheist, I still struggle with some really important spiritual questions. For example, what to say when someone sneezes. Gesundheit sounds a little dorky, salud sounds a little pretentious if Spanish is not your first language, and silence feels awkward because silence, your whole time you're just listening to the other person thinking about how rude you are. So I found myself in recent days going back to the old classic, bless you, when I'm in mixed company. And yes, I'm all too aware it is short for God bless you, a seeming contradiction. But I've had some time to think about it, and well, I think you all know by now exactly what kind of God I'm talking about. I will read a short piece that was it was an exercise to write a piece in the style of the short story by Daniel Orozco called Orientation, which is definitely it's a weird, intense kind of excellent story. I highly recommend it. So this was an orientation, and the title is Summer Camp. Those are the cabins, and these are the tents. We are sharing this tent. That's my sleeping bag there, and this is your sleeping bag. This is your pocket knife. It has the camp logo on it. Never use your pocket knife. If you need to sharpen pieces of wood into stakes or whittle squares into one of the picnic tables, ask the campsite custodian to do it for you. If the campsite custodian is unavailable, talk to the camp courier, Eddie Holmes. Eddie is small, but endlessly energetic. He will run across camp in his tight red gym shorts and check with Daniel Muntz, the campsite manager who lives in town. If Daniel Muntz is unavailable, you can use mine. Each campsite has 2 latrines. The latrines are placed so the sun rises and sets perfectly between them during the spring and fall equinoxes. No one has ever witnessed this. The camp is only open during the summer. Julie Corcoran, the counselor who arranged the latrines, would like to remind us that not all events are intended for human witnesses. Who cleans the latrine, you ask? No one. There's no need. The latrines are bottomless. Try to think of this entire campground as a pie crust that's expanded in the oven, just a paper-thin crust hovering above an endless pocket of hot air. Should you have a fear of bottomless voids like Clark Maskin in Campsite C, and can provide a note from 2 licensed behavioral psychologists, you are allowed to use the restroom in the counselor's cabin. It has a tile floor and a walk-in shower. It is your duty to earn a minimum of 8 activity badges while at camp. Activities and badges are run by counselors. Counselors are high schoolers from the next town over, the one with the gas station in the woods and the telephone pole with all the mailboxes and swastikas on it. Earning badges is the most essential way of showing you have camp spirit. Having camp spirit is mandatory. No one can explain what camp spirit is. You either get it or you don't. The most important counselor at camp is Jake Snively. Jake Snively's activity is knots. His knots are delicate, intricate, wordlessly complex. He can tie a sliding half-hitch, a monkey's eye, a Gordian, and a Mandelbrot. Never ask him what a knot is supposed to do. Never look at Jake Snively. Never follow Jake to his personal campsite. Morgan Emanuel is the counselor in charge of swimming. It's easy to earn a badge in Morgan's class. Do not go to her class. Stay away from Morgan Emanuel. Morgan Emanuel smokes and swims bottomless in the lake. She's the girlfriend of Mark Wilcox. When it's nighttime, you can hear her calling him a stupid fucking jock and slapping him, loud, hard slaps that echo off every tree. Mark Wilcox is the counselor in charge of field games and is the largest human at camp. He once accidentally stomped on one of the campers while playing Capture the Flag and shattered their kneecap into a fine powder. Julie Corcoran is in love with Mark Wilcox. She despises Morgan Emanuel and is working on a curse that is powerful enough to turn Mark against her. Jake Snively is the only counselor who doesn't sleep in the counselor's cabin. His own personal campsite is hidden deep in the woods and is difficult to find. Do not try to find it. No one has ever seen it. I can't describe it to you. Jake Snively's campsite is a galaxy of pale ropes tied in hitches, slips, nooses, and lashes. Braided cords, dangling, slack, taut, all pulling and strangling the surrounding tree branches, the entire mess of it converging into a plexus of sorts that floats above the forest floor, at the center of which Jake has laid his sleeping bag. It is impossible to sneak up on Jake Snively while he sleeps. Got two more short pieces here. Do I have enough time for that?
Yes.
Okay. One which a couple of you I think have heard before. Is the experimental piece in Andrew Joran's experimental fiction class. This is the title. See that? All right. Baoba draws us near to her. For each of us standing on the plush carpet of the factory floor, Baoba is many things. She is soft-edged and warm like a hot water bottle. She is both yielding and firm like a hotel pillow. Every morning she calls to us and we gather under the folds of her cape. Then Baoba sings to us in bell-like tones. Baoba is soft like the fragrant, mossy hills of earth. When we close our eyes, we roll and sway on the gentle swells of her voice. We're carried along harmonic currents to warm, shifting places. We've worked under Baoba's guidance for many years, and it has never felt like work. She hums tirelessly as we craft creatures both fantastical and realistic in her factory, each hand-stitched with care. We never hurry in our work. Each charming creature we create is given eyes that appear intelligent and alive, and each is stamped with love from the maker's hand, a love which originates in and flows through us from Baoba. This good morning, as on many others, she calls to us and we gather under the velvet folds of her cape. However, as we huddle and warm under its quivering edges, we sense something different in Baoba, and it makes us uneasy. It is hard to grasp. We try to grasp it. It slips. We try again. A dropping of dominoes, a collapsing of inner pillars. The sensation is frightful and abrupt, a disjoint fragment of a cutscene brought to a cold stop. We look to Baoba for comfort, but her balloon body bursts and we are flung far from her, hitting the hard corrugated metal of the factory floor. From where we lay dazed and chopped and confused, we can see now that where the softness of Baoba once was, there now menaces a new sharp beam, a tall, radiant ball of spikes, a sentient static sunburst. Each glinting point of it sputters and sparks. A mouth at the center of this malevolence whispers, "Kiki." Her needles extend and threaten us. And we are back to work. The machines clank and sputter and cough. The conveyor belts wobble and squeak. Kiki, kiki, kiki. The cotton we used to stuff the toys is now stiff, yellowed, and full of weevils. The cotton we used to stuff the toys is now clumps of bathroom hair, dirty nickels and pennies. It teems with lice and shredded diatoms. The speed at which we must now sew causes us to prick our fingers. Drops of blood stain our creations, smear the edges of their crooked lips and mismatched eyes, eyes which now stare up at us with expressions deranged and lustful with hatred for their makers. Surely these monstrosities will be the stuff of nightmares. At the end of the day, Kiki will not let us sleep, nor will she let us sing. As we stand and sway in pain, each new jab of Kiki's spikes extracts our soft-bodied memories, electrocutes them, dissolves our dreams into an ozone smoke. There never was a Baoba. As we forget what the past holds for us and force our eyes to see reality, our only lullaby is Kiki's paroxysmal staccato screech. last one is from another experiment or another assignment from a class, which was on a subject that's very near and dear to my heart, which is sleep paralysis. This actually came from a writing exercise to write about a mythical creature in a new way. In this piece, I re-envisioned the night hag, also known as the succubus, a female demon who, in the classical understanding, sits on people's chests and causes sleep paralysis and nightmares. Our modern understanding of sleep paralysis is that it is a state of muscle paralysis that our brain induces to keep us from acting out our dreams as we experience in them. Sleepwalking happens when there are issues. The state of muscle weakness or paralysis is known as atonia, and this piece is called My Atonia. Your sleep produces atonia. Atonia settles like a million microscopic hands around your sweet little burnt red ropelets of muscle. She is satin gloves. She is all fingers. She is a hormone oil massaging and soothing each striated cell until it melts into a pool of pure blissful complacence. Relaxation is her gateway drug. It opens gates for her. Your relaxation begets petrification by way of atonia. She is gorgonic and her eyes are everywhere. Her eyes are the bedroom. You open your own eyes. You tell your arms to move, but they do not. The stars outside have gone bad. They cast jaundiced light against gray clouds. They are worm-ridden apples. They will soon fall from the sky. When was the last time you were this scared? Atonia hunches in the middle of the room, her figure a hill of shifting rags in the dark. Her hands scrabble along the floor in little glitching frames. Your fear extends in white curled fingers from your skin and, against your will, beckons Atonia nearer. Her neck cranes over, her attention is piqued. You watch the shadow of her neck extend over you like you'd watch a videotaped suicide. You watch the shadow of her neck lengthen over this body that is yours, not yours, because everything the shadow touches is not a friend. Everything it touches is lost to her. What shall I do to this talker? She says in neurotropic murmurs, referring to your need to say things, even as you lay there like a tuna fish pepping in the middle of an empty baseball diamond, like a dictionary open so wide that its covers clap together and its pages flutter in the air. The word you say now comes out like which all fall short of expressing your childish desire to beat this thing, your sitcom naive virtue to fight your fear. You close your eyes. What shall I do to him that is so sure all the time, too stupid to doubt, always an explanation ready? Her voice nibbles on your nerve endings, her pointed fingertips prick like kittens' teeth, stippling your chest and neck, a pain that bleeds, but that the warm blood soothes. What does he deserve? A mirror. Lips below mustache, mouth 45 degrees from horizontal, parted in paralyzed misery. Not the misery of pain, but worse, the misery of recognition. Atonia, sitting astride your chest, grinds her pelvic floor against you in what looks like a hard day at the job, making you both the captive audience and the performer, and hits replay over and over again.